Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of this channel. I am Tim Matumoy, and with me today, I have a special guest, Mrs. Glory Oluwasona, based in South Africa. She's a mother, she's a Christian, and then an entrepreneur. You're welcome to the program, Mrs. Glory.
Thank you so much, my doctor.
So we have some questions that Mrs. Glory will be handling for us today, and let's shoot.
Okay. Thank you very much, my doctor. The question I have for you today evolves around the differences in the relationship between God, wealth, and the mind, because a number of people, keep asking this question: what connection do these three have in common? So that's my question to you today. What is the relationship, or how would you differentiate the relationship between God, wealth, and the mind?
Okay. The question or the answer to the question can take an entire day, but I'll see how to summarize it in a few minutes. It's very important to understand that God is the center of everything. Well, this is not a Christian channel. Oh, sorry, this is not a religious channel. However, my belief, my religious belief and perspective definitely has to go through and show up in all aspects of my professional life. So hence the God factor comes in. Now, it's very important to understand that God has a central and a center point in everything that happens to us as humans on earth. Science has come to prove that there is God. The laws of nature have come to prove that there is God. Even atheists who do not believe that there is a God have come to realize that there is something called the universe. There's something called source. Source spelled with a capital S, and several other names they've given to it or to him. So, but I call the source with a capital S, and then I call the universe with a capital U, God. Everything we have working around us, including the laws of nature, were all placed by God. So there is a connection between God and wealth. Let me say it this way. There are certain laws in the universe that we have come to see and taken as these things are normal. Number one, we have the law of gravity. I pick an object up in Africa, I throw it up, it comes down. You don't need to call God. It is called the natural law of the universe, the law of gravity. I go to the West, for example, US, and I take the same object, I throw it up, it comes down. That is called the law of gravity. It is a natural law of the universe. There's nothing you can do about it. You are subject to it, whoever you are, black, white, yellow, whatever race. You have to obey that law. Okay. Now, I pick a seed of corn, and then I go to a garden, I till, and I put in that seed. I cover it. After some days, 8 days to 10 days to 15 days, I begin to see something growing out. It begins to grow and grow and grow. I do that here in Africa. I have that experience. I pick a seed and I go to the West. I get to the garden and I pick a seed. I till the ground and put in that seed. After some time, depending on the kind of seed, the fruit, how long it's going to take, but definitely that seed grow. If it is planted in the proper soil, and then, it's the time, it's the season to plant that seed, it grows. That is called the law of sowing and reaping. Whilst doing that, you don't need to call God to plant that seed.
True.
Let's get a bit religious. You don't need to pray to plant that and have it grow. It is a natural law of the universe. It's called the law of sowing and reaping. Coming to wealth, there is the law of wealth. Of course, the law of wealth is also tied to the law of sowing and reaping. The law of wealth. I want to say here in quotes, you do not need to pray to become wealthy. I'll say some things that some might count controversial, but then I stand by my word. You don't need to be a Christian to become wealthy. You don't need to call God. You don't need to pray to become wealthy. There are laws of wealth. I would want to mention some countries because this show is being showed all over the world. So we don't want some people watching this and then they feel offended because their country is being mentioned. But then I'll just give an example, an illustration, and then you can just think about any country in mind. There are some countries today who do not believe in any God. They do not believe in any God. In fact, the way they operate, they do not operate on a democratic government. They do not believe in any God. They just do their thing. And they have one of the largest economies in the world. They are very wealthy. Their people are employed. They are living very fine. They are okay. Meanwhile, there are some other countries, especially African countries. They even export Christianity. They export God from Africa to the West and to other countries. They are starving. There's insecurity, jobs. People are living in their numbers. In fact, they are going outside to borrow to be able to foot their budgets. In fact, they are going to countries who do not believe in any God to foot their bills. So, coming to the aspect of wealth, you do not, now, once again, in quotes, you do not need God. You do not need to, just like I don't need God, either for or against, to jump and not come down. I do not need God, in quotes, for or against, to sow a seed and have it grow. It is a natural law. I sow a seed, irrespective of my race, my nationality, my age, my academic status. Once I sow that seed, it grows. Irrespective of my geographical location. Same with the law of gravity. I'm just using these two laws as example. There are several laws. Same with wealth. The law of wealth. You do not need God to be wealthy. In the Christian setting, they've mixed it up, and then they tend to say things like for you to be wealthy, you need to pray for. It is not true. It is not true. Because that's why those who are critical and then they want to ask questions, they're inquisitive, they want to know some things, they get to see people who do not believe in what they believe in, who are not of same faith with them. They see those people, they are wealthy. And then it's either they condemn them or they get confused. They condemn them, they rush into saying those people are getting their wealth from whatever it is. Or they get confused, like, these people are not believing in this same God that I'm told to believe in. And then they are wealthy. Something is not just right. So it's simple. You do not need God to become wealthy. He has placed the law in the universe. So it's like it's on auto run. You obey the law irrespective of your religious background, you get the result. Now, coming to the mind.
Now, you have spoken about people, not believing in God and yet are still able to make wealth. And meanwhile, you have some people who believe in God, who pray to God, and carry out all sorts of religious activities, but yet they are in need. They are, poor. So my question now is it a thing of the mind, or what's actually responsible for this? Because if, like you mentioned, wealth is not connected to knowing God, it's not about, knowing God, yeah, then what is actually responsible for this? For people who know God, who know these principles, but yet are still poor? What actually is responsible for this? Because it's a question most people ask. Why will people who know God, who call on God, be the one going to those who don't know God to ask for help, solicit for help? Please don't mind, Doctor,
Okay,
you need to throw light on this.
okay. Thank you for this. Um, those who do not know God versus those who know God, who came to know God, and then the difference we're having in terms of wealth apportion to each group. We need to understand this, that the laws of the universe does not regard or respect, does not exonerate an individual who disobeys it in the name of God. Somebody who claims he's what have you, let's say in Christianity, and then decides to jump from a 10-story building and then tries to change his mind on the 8th floor. Law of gravity will have its toll on him. It brings him down. If he's not careful, he might die. So when people feel they know God and they replace the time, the diligence, the excellence, the doggedness, the persistency, and these attributes of success, they replace it with their religious call on God, either the prayers, the going to religious houses, where they should maybe invest wisely. They're taking the money and giving it to preachers and whoever. This is not a religious, platform. So, and I'm not talking against them. I'm just talking. I'm just talking based on how this law works. Where they should sow, they aren't sowing, and then they are sowing in places or into things that does not work exactly with the way the law works. They will not have the results they are meant to have. Another thing is this: when you have somebody who gives 2 hours, just following normal principle of success, he gives 2 hours doing a particular work, and then this other person who feels he calls on God, he gives 30 seconds or 30 minutes, 30 minutes doing the same work over time. Who do you think will excel better? It's common sense, the person who gives him 2 hours in doing the work. Now, it is a general saying that there are these people who claim God, they give less time. If you want to check out there to see the most wealthy people in the world, those who are excelling the most in their career, those who are inventing things, those who are extremely and highly innovative, a good number of them, maybe not majority, but maybe even majority of them, these are people who do not even claim God. Some of them, in intimate interaction with them, you even discover that it's like they don't even believe in God. So how come they are excelling? These people give so much time. They give so much time in understanding their crafts. For example, the current richest man in the world, I won't call his name, says he gives in up to 100 hours of his time doing his work. Meanwhile, his other counterparts in the same industry gives 50 hours. And this is one of the things I teach in the psychology of marketing, that when you double the time you spend in your business, the time compared to your competitors, you are likely, it's just a rational thinking, you are likely to have more, ×2 of what your other competitors are having. If you spend ×2 of the time your other competitors are spending, or your other classmates are spending studying and reading, and you give that to your time, you are likely to excel more than they are doing. This is common sense. This is natural law. And God seizes God if it goes against these laws, because he placed them there and all humans are subject to it. So where does the mind come in here? Just quickly bring this to a close. When one thinks in his own thoughts, thinking over and over, and then trying to pin the attraction of success elsewhere, rather than where you should pin your mind attraction to. For example, I'm thinking about wealth and I'm then trying to get into a particular innovation. I'm trying to get into a particular investment, and then I'm giving my very best. I'm giving my time. I'm trying to learn it. I'm interested in it. I'm paying attention to it. I'm, burning the midnight candle, trying to learn it, trying to give it my very best. It has to do with the mind. I'm not just doing it coincidentally. I'm doing it intentionally. I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm interacting, I'm building my network around it. And this other fellow is there praying. He spends 15 minutes, he's off doing some other things. He spent 45 minutes, he's gone doing some other things. Around 9 p.m., he's gone sleeping. And I'm still there 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm still trying to do it. And my network is surrounded by people who are also trying to search and find a way around this thing will work. Why won't that person excel more than this other fellow? So these people's mindset is really not centered around wealth. If you look at it critically, their mindset is not centered around wealth. Their mindset is centered around God will give it to me. God will do it for me. And God doesn't work that. He works by the law or the laws of the universe. So with this, I'll bring the question to a close, that the mind, God, and wealth, they are interwoven. But it is very necessary and important to be able to bring a balance to the three, because God will not go against himself because of somebody who calls his name and goes against a natural law he has put in place. So very quickly, we'll bring this session to a close. Thank you very much, Mrs. Glory, for your time. Thank you very much for this session, our viewers. And we really do hope you found this session helpful. You can drop your comments and your feedback in the comment section below. We would like to hear from you and have your questions. Thank you all, guys, once again, and be well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.